What if I tell you that the love you've been searching for isn't somewhere out there, waiting to be found, but already exists in the unseen, the moment you decide it's yours? Neville Goddard called this living in the end, and it's the exact opposite of chasing after someone or something. Instead of looking for signs, you step into the feeling of already having the relationship you desire, and you live from that place every single day. Imagine waking up and knowing, deep in your heart, that your perfect partner is already in your life, even if your bed is still empty right now. Your energy changes instantly. You walk differently, you smile differently, and you speak with a confidence that others can feel. This isn't pretending or fooling yourself. It's aligning your consciousness with the reality you want. Neville taught that creation is finished, meaning your desired relationship already exists in another dimension of reality. The only reason you don't see it yet is because you haven't moved into the state where it's already true for you. In this state, you stop checking your phone every 5 minutes to see if they've texted, because you know they are yours in the deepest sense. You stop feeling desperate, because you're already living as the chosen one. This is where the magic begins. When your inner world becomes more real to you than what's happening in the 3D world around you. It's like being an actor who's so immersed in their role that they become the character, and the world responds accordingly. Living in the end is not about daydreaming once in a while. It's about making the end state your permanent home. Every word, every thought, and every emotion flows from the assumption that your love life is exactly as you want it. And when you maintain this state long enough, reality bends to match it. You stop looking at the absence, and you start feeling the presence. That's when people begin to treat you as if you're already in love, because energetically, you are. And in the most unexpected way, your outer world starts catching up with your inner certainty. Where we go next is the moment you realize why chasing love actually drives it away, and how that truth changes everything. When you chase love, you unknowingly tell the universe, "I don't have it yet," and that vibration keeps it away. It's like running after a butterfly. Every step you take toward it makes it fly further out of reach. Neville's living in the end is the antidote to this desperate energy because it shifts you from wanting to already having. The moment you try to force love to appear, you're affirming its absence in your reality. Think about it. If you already had the relationship, would you be anxiously scanning social media to see if they liked your post? Would you be replaying every conversation in your head, wondering if you said the right thing? Of course not. You'd be relaxed, secure, and joyful. Chasing creates tension, and tension is the opposite of trust. Trust is what allows love to flow toward you naturally, without you needing to grab at it. When you live in the end, you replace pursuit with presence. You don't chase the person, you embody the version of yourself who is already with them. This is why people who seem hard to get often attract love easily. It's not that they're playing games, it's that they're radiating self-sufficiency and inner fulfillment. The energy of "I already have it" pulls love in like a magnet, while the energy of "I need it now" pushes it away. If you've been running after love, the first step is to stop and turn inward. Imagine the relationship is already yours and feel how calm that version of you would be. This is not about ignoring someone you care for. It's about shifting your internal state so you meet them as an equal, not as a beggar. Chasing says, "You are above me." Living in the end says we already belong together. And in that state, love starts to meet you halfway, without the exhausting sprint. From here, the journey flows into learning how to shift from wanting to having, and why that subtle move changes your entire love story. The gap between wanting and having is invisible to the eyes but unmistakable to the heart. Wanting carries an energy of lack. It's the silent confession that what you desire is still missing. Having, on the other hand, is the quiet confidence that it's already yours, even if the physical proof hasn't yet appeared. Neville taught that the key to manifestation is not in hoping or wishing, but in assuming the feeling of the wish fulfilled. This means no longer asking, "When will they love me?" but instead affirming, "They already do." In the world of consciousness, that subtle shift changes everything. because you start acting, thinking, and feeling like a person who is already in a loving relationship. You walk into a room with the glow of someone cherished. You speak with the warmth of someone adored. And the more you dwell in this inner certainty, the more life rearranges itself to match it. Imagine going to bed at night and instead of longing for someone to text you, you feel the comfort of knowing they are already in your life. That energy wraps around you like a blanket, replacing anxiety with peace. The truth is, no one needs to be convinced to love you when you're living as if they already do. They simply respond to the love you're radiating. Wanting says, "I'll be happy when." Having says, "I'm happy now because it's done." That difference may sound small, but it's the doorway to the reality you've been waiting for. The bridge between the two states is built through imagination, persistence, and emotional embodiment. And once you cross it, you never go back to chasing, because you've learned how to live in the fullness of love now, not later. Next, we'll step deeper into the power of emotional saturation, the secret force that makes having feel so real, it can't help but become physical. Emotional saturation is the secret sauce that makes living in the end irresistible to reality. Neville always said it's not enough to just think about your desire, you must feel it with such intensity and depth that it becomes the most natural part of you. This isn't about forcing emotion, but about letting yourself sink so fully into the state of having your love that it feels more real than the physical world. Think of it like dye soaking into fabric. The longer you let it sit, the deeper and more permanent the color becomes. When you emotionally saturate yourself with the feeling of being loved, cherished, and chosen, you're imprinting that state onto your subconscious. And the subconscious doesn't argue. It simply accepts and expresses whatever it's given. The mistake most people make is visiting this feeling for a few minutes and then going back to doubt. But emotional saturation is about living there, not just passing through. It's the moment you hear their voice in your mind and feel your heart warm. It's smelling their scent in your imagination until you almost believe they're standing behind you. It's smiling to yourself in the grocery store because you feel them holding your hand in another dimension of reality. This depth of feeling is what convinces your mind that it's already done, and when your mind is convinced, your behavior shifts effortlessly. No acting, no pretending, just natural alignment. People will notice a glow about you, even if they can't explain it. You'll stop craving love from outside sources because you're overflowing from within. And soon, the outer world catches up with what you've been living in your inner world all along. Now that we've anchored ourselves in the feeling, it's time to explore how imagination becomes the creative force that shapes your love story in the 3D world. Neville called imagination God in action, and when it comes to love manifestation, it's your most powerful tool. Every relationship, every romance, every magical moment begins first as an image in someone's mind. The outer world is only a mirror reflecting what the inner world has already entertained. When you live in the end, you're not just daydreaming about love, you're using imagination with intention and precision. You're crafting scenes that confirm your relationship is real right now, not someday in the future. You might picture the two of you walking in a park, laughing as if it's the 100th time you've done it. Or you could imagine the feeling of their hand resting in yours as you drive together in the car. The key is to make it vivid. Hear the sound of their voice, see the sparkle in their eyes, feel the warmth of their skin. Neville emphasized that the subconscious accepts the imagined experience as real when it's felt in detail. That's why professional athletes visualize before competing. They know the mind can't distinguish between a vividly imagined event and a physical one. For love, this means your imagined dates, conversations, and moments of affection start setting the stage for them to appear in your tangible reality. It's not about forcing the how or when. It's about enjoying the certainty of the already. The more you dwell in these mental love scenes, the more natural they feel. And when they feel natural, they must manifest. Imagination isn't just wishful thinking. It's the seedbed of creation. And when you water that seed with repetition and feeling, the harvest is inevitable. From here, we step into one of the hardest but most liberating parts of the journey, detaching from the physical evidence so the seed you've planted can grow. One of the biggest mistakes in manifesting love is relying on physical proof to validate your inner reality. Neville taught that waiting for texts, calls, or signs keeps you anchored in the very lack you're trying to escape. Detachment doesn't mean ignoring your desire. It means trusting it's already done, regardless of what the outer world shows. When you check your phone obsessively or replay conversations in your mind, you reinforce doubt instead of certainty. Imagine planting a seed and standing over it every hour, worrying if it's sprouting. You would disrupt its growth. The same principle applies to love. Detachment allows your inner state to remain undisturbed, even if the 3D world appears contrary. You continue living as someone who is already loved, smiling at life and radiating the joy of your fulfilled desire. This doesn't make you passive. It makes you powerful, because your energy is aligned with the reality you want. The universe responds to your inner state, not to the outward chaos of impatience or fear. Every act of trust, every moment of inner certainty waters the seed of your desire. Slowly, without forcing, life begins to mirror your assumption. People, circumstances, and events begin falling into place effortlessly. You begin to notice coincidences that feel like magic, yet are simply the reflection of your inner world. Detachment doesn't mean giving up. It means giving over to the certainty that it's already yours. It's the quiet strength of knowing that the bridge to your desire will appear at the perfect moment. And the peace that comes with this detachment makes the eventual manifestation all the sweeter. Next, we explore how rehearsing your ideal relationship in your mind daily solidifies this reality and accelerates love's arrival. Rehearsing your ideal relationship is like mentally auditioning for the life you want to live. Neville emphasized that repetition in the imagination impresses the subconscious, which then acts as a faithful servant, orchestrating circumstances to match. Each night before sleep, you can create vivid scenes of the two of you together, speaking, laughing, and enjoying each other's company. You don't just imagine the events, you feel them, taste them, hear them, and live them fully in your mind. These mental rehearsals are not fantasies. They are rehearsals of the reality that already exists in the unseen. Every detail you focus on strengthens the bridge between your inner world and the external one. Even a few minutes of sincere practice daily can dramatically change how you perceive yourself and your relationship. Over time, these rehearsals shift your energy, attracting people, situations, and opportunities that match your imagined scenes. You'll start noticing small synchronicities that feel like clues from the universe, guiding you closer to the manifestation. The subconscious cannot distinguish between a real memory and a vividly imagined one. It accepts both as reality. That is why consistent mental rehearsal is so powerful. It becomes the unseen script that your life begins to follow. You begin to act in alignment with the person you are in your imagination, naturally embodying confidence, love, and joy. Others respond to this energy without knowing why. Your inner world becomes so compelling that reality has no choice but to catch up. Each rehearsal plants seeds of certainty and peace, replacing doubt and neediness. As you drift to sleep, your mind continues the scene, letting your subconscious integrate it fully. This makes your love life feel inevitable, as though it has already happened and is simply unfolding. Next, we explore the science behind state of consciousness and how modern understanding validates Neville's teachings on love manifestation. Modern psychology and neuroscience are beginning to validate what Neville taught decades ago. Your state of consciousness shapes your reality. When you immerse yourself in the feeling of already having love, your brain begins to act as if it's true, firing neurons in patterns identical to actual experiences. This creates a feedback loop where your inner world rewires your perceptions and responses in the outer world. Studies on visualization and emotional embodiment show that people who consistently imagine positive outcomes often experience real-life improvements in behavior, confidence, and relationships. Your subconscious mind doesn't differentiate between an experienced event and a vividly imagined one. This is why living in the end works so effectively. When you sustain the emotional state of being loved, your body, mind, and energy field adjust to match it, signaling to the universe that this is your natural state. Dopamine and oxytocin levels rise, giving you the same sensations you'd feel if your relationship were already real. Even your posture, tone of voice, and social interactions change subtly, making you more attractive and magnetic to others. Science calls this a state-dependent effect, and Neville called it living in the end. The consistent practice of embodying your wish fulfilled rewires neural pathways, making doubt and fear harder to sustain. The more real it feels internally, the sooner it manifests externally. This is why persistence in imagination is not fantasy, it is neurological training. When you feel the love in your body first, you create a gravitational field that draws corresponding circumstances to you. Your energy aligns with the frequency of love, and reality naturally responds. This shows that Neville's teachings were not just metaphysical, they were practical instructions for how consciousness creates experience. Understanding this science reinforces your trust in the process. When your brain, body, and emotions align with your inner reality, the universe has no choice but to mirror it. Next, we dive into why neediness blocks manifestation, and how letting go of desperation opens the door to love. Neediness is like a hidden anchor that keeps love just out of reach. When you crave affection or validation, you're sending a signal of lack instead of abundance, and the universe responds accordingly. Neville often warned that desperation is the enemy of manifestation. It screams, "I do not have it," even when your heart desires it deeply. When you focus on needing someone, your mind is consumed by absence rather than presence. This energy creates tension, anxiety, and subtle behaviors that repel rather than attract. People can sense neediness unconsciously, and it triggers resistance instead of receptivity. On the other hand, living in the end cultivates freedom, confidence, and calm assurance. When you embody the state of already being loved, you stop asking for proof or chasing after attention. You naturally radiate the energy of completeness, which draws others effortlessly toward you. The key is to recognize neediness in your thoughts and emotions and gently redirect them to certainty. Imagine your desire as a flower. If you clutch it tightly in desperation, you crush it. If you nurture it with calm confidence, it blooms beautifully. Every moment you resist neediness, you reinforce the magnetic field of attraction. The more relaxed and secure you become, the more others are drawn to your energy without force. Desperation says, "I am incomplete without you," while living in the end says, "I am whole, and love flows to me naturally." Once you master this subtle shift, manifestation accelerates without effort. You become a conduit for love, not a seeker chasing shadows. People and circumstances align to your inner certainty effortlessly, like rivers flowing toward the sea. And slowly, the life you imagine begins to feel inevitable. Next, we move into how embodying the identity of the loved partner shifts your reality even further, taking the process to a deeper level. To fully live in the end, Neville teaches that you must not only feel loved, but also embody the identity of someone who is already cherished. This means stepping into the mindset, habits, and confidence of the person who is in a fulfilling relationship right now. You start to treat yourself with the same respect, care, and affection that your ideal partner would show. Your inner dialogue shifts from, "I hope someone loves me," to, "I am loved, and I act like it every day." Even mundane choices, how you dress, how you carry yourself, how you speak, reflect this new identity. The subconscious notices every subtle change and aligns your external circumstances to match. People respond differently to you when you radiate the energy of someone who is already loved. Interactions feel smoother, connections deepen, and opportunities to meet your desired partner multiply. This embodiment isn't about pretending or forcing. It's about naturally living from a place of fulfillment. You feel secure in your worth and open to receiving, rather than desperate to be validated. Neville stressed that the outer world cannot help but conform to the inner state when you truly inhabit it. Your thoughts, emotions, and actions all become consistent with the reality you desire, and this consistency strengthens your manifestation. You stop chasing love because you are already living it internally. Others are drawn to this energy, recognizing the fullness you carry. Your presence alone becomes magnetic. Over time, the gap between imagination and reality narrows until the love you rehearsed mentally manifests effortlessly in your life. By embodying this identity, you remove resistance and allow the universe to orchestrate events naturally. You are no longer a seeker. You are already the loved partner you imagined. This is the point where living in the end transforms from a technique into a way of being. Next, we explore persisting despite opposite circumstances, and why holding your inner reality matters more than external evidence. One of the most challenging aspects of living in the end is maintaining your inner state when the outer world seems to contradict it. Neville warned that reality often presents the opposite of what you desire, not to frustrate you, but to test the depth of your assumption. If you cling to what you see instead of what you feel, you break the bridge between imagination and reality. Imagine walking through a storm but keeping your heart sunny and warm. The external chaos does not touch your internal state. Life may show delays, misunderstandings, or people who don't yet align with your vision, but these are temporary shadows on the path of manifestation. The key is to persist in feeling the love as if it's already yours, no matter what appears in the 3D world. Each moment you reaffirm your inner reality, you strengthen the magnetic field around your desire. Your imagination becomes more compelling than circumstance, and slowly, reality starts rearranging itself. Persistence is not stubbornness. It's quiet confidence that what you have imagined must appear. Even when your heart doubts, you return to the feeling of fulfillment. By consistently revisiting your end state, your subconscious begins to ignore contradictory evidence. The universe responds not to the external complaints, but to the unwavering inner conviction. Obstacles become lessons, coincidences become confirmations, and delays become part of the story unfolding perfectly. Each challenge tests whether you are truly living from the end or merely pretending. Those who endure in this state without wavering see love manifest naturally, as if by magic. Your persistence creates a gravitational pull that draws people, events, and circumstances toward your vision. Over time, the opposite circumstances fade, replaced by evidence that mirrors your internal certainty. Next, we explore the difference between desire and fulfillment, and why understanding this distinction is crucial for love manifestation. Most people mistake desire for fulfillment, and this confusion keeps love just out of reach. Desire is the energy of lacking. It says, I don't have it yet, but I hope to someday. Fulfillment, on the other hand, is the feeling of already having what you want, which is exactly what Neville calls living in the end. When you dwell in desire, your focus remains on absence, and your subconscious mirrors that lack. Fulfillment shifts your attention entirely to presence, certainty, and completeness. Imagine sitting across from your ideal partner and feeling the love so strongly that the outer world no longer matters. This is fulfillment. It doesn't rely on texts, dates, or confirmations. It exists independent of external circumstances. Desire is a spark that can ignite manifestation, but alone is insufficient. It must be fed with imagination and feeling. Fulfillment is the flame that sustains creation until it burns into physical reality. The moment you experience love internally as already yours, you stop acting from need or desperation. Your words, actions, and energy naturally align with someone who is in a loving relationship. People are drawn to this vibrational certainty, and the universe mirrors it in visible form. Desire without fulfillment is like planting seeds in barren soil. Fulfillment waters them until they sprout. This distinction also teaches patience and trust, knowing that what is already yours will appear in the right time. When you truly understand this, you stop resisting life and allow it to unfold. Every thought, emotion, and imagination is now a building block of your fulfilled love life. Fulfillment feels effortless, natural, and inevitable, while desire feels restless and incomplete. Choosing fulfillment over desire transforms the inner experience of love. Next, we move into letting the bridge of incidents unfold. How life begins to conspire in your favor when you maintain your end state. Neville taught that once you live in the end, the universe creates a bridge of incidents to connect your inner reality with the outer world. These incidents are often subtle, seemingly random events that guide you toward the manifestation of your desire. You might meet someone by chance, receive an unexpected message, or experience a series of coincidences that feel almost orchestrated. The key is to remain in the state of fulfillment and not try to force or control these events. Trying to manipulate the bridge interrupts the flow and delays manifestation. Instead, trust that each small incident is a stepping stone leading you to your ideal love. Life will present opportunities in perfect timing, often in ways you could never have imagined. Each event is a confirmation that your inner state is already creating your reality. When you maintain emotional saturation and persistent imagination, you begin noticing these subtle nudges more clearly. The universe mirrors your inner certainty by arranging people, circumstances, and conversations to reflect your fulfilled desire. Sometimes the bridge appears as guidance through intuition, dreams, or sudden insights. Other times, it manifests through tangible encounters, each one drawing you closer to the reality you rehearsed in your mind. Patience is essential. The bridge may not be immediate, but it is always precise. You continue living as the loved partner you imagine while observing how life responds. By allowing the bridge to unfold, you demonstrate trust and alignment with your inner world. The process becomes almost effortless, as your imagination and emotions steer reality without conscious struggle. Every seemingly random moment is actually a thread weaving your desired reality into existence. When you step back and surrender to the process, the manifestation feels inevitable, almost magical. Next, we explore dropping the old story, how releasing past patterns clears the way for your love to arrive. Every person carries a history of past relationships, rejections, and heartbreaks that silently shape their present reality. Neville emphasized that clinging to these old stories blocks the flow of new love, because your subconscious treats them as continuing truths. If you constantly replay past betrayals, disappointments, or failures, you reinforce the pattern of absence instead of presence. Dropping the old story means consciously releasing every memory, judgment, and limiting belief that contradicts your desired relationship. It's not about denial. It's about rewriting the script in your imagination so that the past no longer dictates your future. You might visualize yourself closing the door on previous relationships, or imagine erasing emotional scars that no longer serve you. Each act of mental release lightens your energy and strengthens your inner certainty that love is possible and already yours. This clearing allows your imagination and emotions to focus fully on the new reality you are creating. When the old story fades, you stop expecting rejection and start expecting connection. Others respond to this energetic shift, often without knowing why, drawn to the openness and confidence you now radiate. Dropping the old story also cultivates forgiveness of yourself and others, which removes resistance from your subconscious. The space you create becomes fertile ground for the love you desire to take root. Every thought, feeling, and imagination now aligns with fulfillment rather than lack. Your inner world becomes a sanctuary of certainty, peace, and attraction. Past disappointments lose their power to color your present. And as you fully inhabit this cleared space, life begins to conspire to deliver your imagined love. Each day becomes a rehearsal for joy, confidence, and connection. Slowly, the universe fills the void left by the old story with evidence of new love. In this way, dropping the past is not just emotional, it is a practical step in manifestation. Next, we explore self-love as the foundation and why it is essential for living in the end with integrity and magnetism. Before you can truly receive love from another, Neville taught that you must first cultivate love for yourself. Self-love is the foundation upon which all successful manifestations are built. It means accepting yourself fully, flaws and all, and recognizing your worthiness of affection and connection. When you live in the end, self-love ensures that your energy is magnetic rather than needy or desperate. You treat yourself with care, kindness, and respect, modeling the love you wish to receive from others. This inner completeness signals to the universe that you are ready for a harmonious relationship. Without self-love, attempts to manifest love often backfire because your subconscious doubts your own deservingness. Practices like affirmations, nurturing routines, and visualizing yourself being cherished strengthen this foundation. You begin to feel whole and radiant, independent of external validation. The energy you radiate from self-love attracts others who mirror it naturally. You no longer seek completion from someone else, because you are already complete. This shift transforms the way people respond to you, making interactions lighter, more authentic, and more magnetic. The love you imagine begins to feel natural because it aligns with the love you feel internally. Every action you take, every choice you make, becomes consistent with someone who is already loved. As you embody self-love, doubt and insecurity diminish, replaced by trust and certainty. The outer world can now reflect your inner wholeness without resistance. Your relationships become mirrors of the abundant love you carry within. By prioritizing self-love, you create a fertile space where your imagined relationship can manifest effortlessly. And this inner harmony ensures that the love you attract is authentic and fulfilling. Next, we explore inner conversations that create love. How speaking to your ideal partner in your imagination accelerates manifestation. Neville taught that the conversations you have inside your mind are more powerful than words spoken aloud. When you imagine speaking with your ideal partner, you are impressing your subconscious with the reality you wish to create. These inner dialogues should feel real, heartfelt, and specific, as if the person is responding to you in that very moment. You might imagine sharing your day, expressing affection, or receiving their love and validation. Each word, tone, and emotional nuance strengthens the belief that the relationship already exists. Your subconscious doesn't question imagination, it accepts it as truth when it is lived and felt vividly. This technique allows you to rehearse love daily, making it a natural part of your inner world. The more detailed and consistent the conversations, the more compelling they become to your subconscious mind. Eventually, your outer reality begins to mirror these interactions, attracting circumstances and even the actual person who aligns with your inner dialogue. This practice also deepens your emotional saturation, reinforcing the state of fulfillment and certainty. You start carrying yourself as if the love is tangible, which changes how others perceive and respond to you. Inner conversations eliminate doubt by keeping your focus on what you desire rather than what is absent. They train your mind to experience love now rather than later. Over time, your imagination and your heart merge, creating a seamless reality that feels completely authentic. Each rehearsal strengthens the bridge between the unseen and the seen. You begin to notice subtle cues, coincidences, and synchronicities that confirm your inner work. This internal dialogue becomes a rehearsal for real-world interactions, ensuring your actions align with the love you are already living. The consistency of these conversations is key. Repetition embeds the state of fulfillment deep into your consciousness. By consciously directing your inner speech, you craft a reality where love flows naturally, effortlessly, and inevitably. Next, we explore love without resistance, how to dissolve fears and doubts that pull you out of the end state. Even when you imagine love vividly, doubts and fears can create subtle resistance that slows manifestation. Neville taught that the key is to dissolve these blocks and allow love to flow naturally, without tension or expectation. Resistance often appears as inner questioning. What if it doesn't happen? Or what if they don't feel the same way? These thoughts are normal, but lingering on them reinforces absence. To release resistance, first acknowledge the fear, then return your attention to the feeling of fulfillment. Visualize love as effortless, abundant, and already present, letting go of the need to control the how and when. When you stop struggling against reality, your energy aligns with the frequency of love. Resistance fades as certainty takes its place, and your subconscious begins to act in harmony with your imagined state. You stop chasing, worrying, or second-guessing because your inner world already holds the desired outcome. This creates a magnetic field that naturally draws people and circumstances toward your imagined reality. Everyday life becomes a mirror of your inner confidence, and coincidences start appearing as confirmations. The absence you once feared becomes irrelevant, replaced by presence and trust. Even small moments, like a kind gesture, a smile, or a conversation, reinforce the certainty of fulfillment. Resistance is simply a habit of attention, and shifting focus to joy and love retrains your mind. Over time, this practice makes living in the end effortless, as if it were your default state. Your emotional energy flows freely, attracting experiences that align with love. Doubts become whispers rather than commands, easily ignored in favor of inner certainty. In this state, the universe orchestrates events on your behalf, often in surprising and delightful ways. Love without resistance feels natural, expansive, and inevitable, removing friction from the path of manifestation. Next, we explore testing the power on small things first, showing how building faith in little manifestations strengthens your ability to live in the end for love. Before fully trusting your imagination with matters of the heart, Neville suggested testing its power on smaller, less emotionally charged desires. By successfully manifesting minor things, like a parking spot, a phone call, or a small opportunity, you build faith in your ability to create from your inner state. These small wins act as proof that living in the end works, giving your subconscious mind confidence in your larger desires. The principle is simple. If your imagination can shape everyday events, it can shape the deepest desires of love. Each small manifestation reinforces the process, making it easier to sustain the emotional and mental state required for bigger manifestations. You begin to notice patterns where your inner assumptions are reflected almost immediately in the external world. This practice also strengthens patience and trust, because not everything appears instantly, but each success confirms that the method works. With repeated successes, you stop doubting your inner authority and start believing that love, too, can be drawn to you effortlessly. Testing small desires trains your mind to live in certainty rather than lack. It reduces fear and hesitation, replacing them with curiosity and excitement. You become aware of how your assumptions, focus, and feelings shape reality daily. Even when faced with apparent delays, the subconscious remembers previous successes and continues to work behind the scenes. By the time you apply the method to love, your confidence is unwavering. You no longer rely on external proof. The internal experience is sufficient. Each minor manifestation is a rehearsal, a training ground for mastering the state of fulfillment. Slowly, the process of creating love becomes intuitive and natural. Your energy becomes magnetic because you have practiced alignment repeatedly. The bridge between imagination and reality grows sturdy and reliable. By starting small, you develop mastery over your inner world, preparing yourself for the inevitable arrival of your desired partner. Next, we explore the point of naturalness. Why Neville says manifestation is easiest when it feels normal, not forced or exciting. Neville emphasized that the most powerful manifestations occur when living in the end feels completely natural. Trying too hard, forcing excitement, or overthinking the process creates tension and slows the flow of love into your life. Instead, your inner world should feel ordinary, calm, and certain, as if the relationship you desire has always existed. Imagine walking into a room where your ideal partner is already present. You don't gasp, panic, or question. You simply feel at home. This naturalness signals to your subconscious that fulfillment is your default state, not an extraordinary event to be earned or chased. The more relaxed and effortless the feeling, the stronger the manifestation. When you integrate love into your daily mental and emotional life naturally, it becomes part of who you are. External events then unfold with ease because there is no resistance or doubt to contradict your assumption. The law of attraction responds best to inner alignment, not dramatic visualization or desperate longing. By making the end state feel normal, you avoid creating mental friction that could push love away. Your body, mind, and emotions all resonate with certainty, producing a magnetic field that draws the desired person to you. Small signs, coincidences, and opportunities begin to appear naturally, reinforcing your inner state. This natural approach prevents burnout, impatience, or obsessive thinking, which often sabotages manifestation. It allows love to flow organically into your life, guided by your inner reality. The process becomes a seamless extension of your everyday experience, not a forced effort or ritual. Over time, this naturalness transforms your identity, making you someone who effortlessly attracts and sustains love. Living in the end becomes second nature, and reality simply mirrors what is already true within. The ultimate mastery of Neville's teachings is turning living in the end into your default way of being. This means that, without effort, your mind and emotions naturally assume the state of fulfillment and love throughout your day. You no longer need to consciously visualize or rehearse because your inner reality continuously reflects your desired outcome. Every thought, feeling, and action flows from the certainty that your ideal relationship already exists. You carry yourself with quiet confidence, radiating love and magnetism to everyone around you. Challenges, delays, or apparent contradictions in the outer world no longer disturb you. Your inner state remains unwavering. Daily life becomes a reflection of your inner certainty, and the universe arranges circumstances to match the reality you live within. You naturally attract people, opportunities, and experiences that align with the love you embody. Even subtle shifts in behavior, tone, and presence reinforce your state, creating a magnetic effect that draws your partner effortlessly. This is not magic. It is the consistent application of consciousness shaping reality. Over time, the boundary between imagination and experience blurs until the outer world fully mirrors your internal state. Love becomes effortless because you no longer chase, doubt, or resist. You simply live as someone already loved. Your subconscious mind works tirelessly behind the scenes, coordinating events to bring your imagined reality into physical form. You respond to life with joy and certainty, knowing that everything is unfolding perfectly. Every interaction, glance, or conversation feels like a confirmation of your fulfilled state. Friends, family, and even strangers notice the radiance and calm confidence you exude. By making living in the end your default, you create a life where love flows naturally, abundantly, and inevitably. This state becomes your identity, your habit, and your natural rhythm. And in this effortless alignment, your deepest desires for love are not just possible, they are inevitable.